This is Rebel Therapist, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are trained as therapists and who want to level up their businesses, make a bigger impact, feel fulfilled, and be very well paid. I'm your host, Annie Schusler. This is part 2 in a series sharing the voices of people who've been through Rebel Therapist programs recently, and these folks have created some phenomenal offerings. I want you to hear directly from them about what they created and what they've learned in this process, because number one, it's going to inspire you to realize you can create something amazing. Number two, you're going to get to hear a bit about what they learned in creating these programs, and that's going to help normalize the process that entrepreneurs go through. And number three, you're probably going to fall in love with them. So for this series, you're going to be hearing directly from these incredible folks, and they are giving us such a gift, and I just can't thank them enough. You're going to hear from Heidi Savell, Jay Carlin, Jesse Kaufman, and Valerie DeLugo. All right, let's jump right in with Heidi Savell.
My name is Heidi Savelle, and I'm located in Portland, Oregon. The program I created is called Steady Your Polywobbles, and it's an 8-week small group coaching experience specifically for folks who are newer to the polyamory journey. So this could be folks who are just getting started, all the way up to folks who have been doing it for 1 or 2 years and still really struggling to find their footing. My hope with this program is to really give people more ease and confidence, and just to help them feel more grounded and supported in the polyamory journey. The reason I created this program is twofold. One is a really personal reason, and the other one was a professional reason. The personal reason is that when I started my own polyamory journey about 8 years ago, I felt really lost, and I struggled a lot to find my own footing. I did a lot of reading. I really reached out to try to find community, but I found that even with what was available around me, I was longing for more mentorship, more community, and more hands-on learning. And so I created this program to give to other people the thing that I most longed for and wanted when I was first starting out. The other reason, the professional reason, is that in my therapy practice, I work a lot with folks, most often individually or in dyads, to help them enter polyamory and to really have a solid footing as they get started. And I find that I get so much more interest than I'm able to meet in my therapy practice. And also there's something about a group setting that just has a lot more energy and connection, and the wisdom that comes from folks learning in community and witnessing other people be vulnerable is something that I wasn't able to offer in my private practice. And so this group setting really allows for more of that. One of the things that I've learned in this process is that I think the biggest thing I've learned is in the marketing process and getting the word out there for my program is that I am really bad at predicting what the things are that I'm going to put out into the world that really resonate with folks. So what I mean by that is whether it's a free webinar that I'm creating for folks to learn more about my program, or an Instagram post or a video or even a newsletter I'm sending out. Sometimes the ones that I think are going to be really sticky and good and generate a lot of interest either fall flat or are just so-so. And sometimes the ones that I'm holding in my drafts folder for a long time and put out there when I really have nothing else going, and I'm like, well, I'll just put this out there and see. Sometimes those are the ones that really take off and that really resonate with folks. So I've learned to be less of a judge about the content I create, or less trying to do the guesswork around what people will like or not like, and just create a lot of different diverse content and put it all out into the world and trust that different things will resonate for different folks along the way. And so Yeah, I think that I'm taking more risks now, and I'm putting myself out there in ways that I might not have in the past. And as I get more comfortable with it, I'm learning that actually ends up being really rewarding. I've also, another really big learning point for me has been being patient with the process. I think that one's really worth mentioning. The very first time I launched this, no one signed up. And if it weren't for Annie, I probably would have just given up at that point. But I learned to put myself out there in more ways, give it more time, let more momentum build. And that really made a difference.
Hi, so I am Douglas Carlin, and I am located in San Francisco, California. Although with Zoom, I am working in many different places. And I provide programs for emerging leaders and middle managers in assisting them in growing and developing their leadership and management skills. But I do it in sort of two different ways. So I have kind of two programs in one. My first program is called Leading with Insight, and I offer this to organizations. So I work with organizations. Right now I'm working with two organizations, one is a nonprofit and one is with the government, county government actually, which is where these organizations contract with me to come in and work at developing their emerging leaders and middle managers. And my program then, I have a series of things that I offer them as kind of a menu. And then together we come up with what will be the best program in helping them to develop what I believe is actually the leadership level that organizations kind of live or die with. How well their emerging leaders and their middle managers do really predicts the viability and the health of an organization. So right now, both of the two organizations that I am working with, I have year-long programs running with them. And those programs have a group of a cohort of managers who are essentially at the same level. And with them, I'm doing asynchronous Zoom coaching, similar to what Annie does in her program. And then also has twice monthly sort of live Zoom meetings that are based on a module system where I have modules of content that I'm working with them. And I pick those modules with the organization. I have a series of content modules that I have already put together. And I'm like, what is going to work best? And after I've met with them and found out what some of their challenges are, we kind of structure out what those modules are going to look like. And then I also work in collaboration with the members of the cohort themselves to see what is going to be most helpful to them. I've also found that I pivot a lot as we go, as problems arise or challenges arise with the organization, what they're going to need. And so that's sort of one thing that I do. So I provide asynchronous coaching, twice a month live groups, and then also I do a lot of things through the Mighty Network platform to provide worksheets and interesting articles for them to read as we go along. Then I also have a 5-week program that I'm getting ready to launch that's called Moving Forward Together, Managing Challenging Communications, which are for individuals who are middle managers and emerging leaders to take and to do a sort of very focused 5-week program that will be once a week, live Zoom, and then unlimited asynchronous coaching sort of through Loom. My goal in working with folks is to help them develop more insight into their own process. I do a lot of work around sort of ethical power politics, compassionate accountability, values-based decision-making, self-awareness, identifying, and then how to utilize their signature strengths. I do a lot of things around liberation and liberation strategies, navigating ambiguity and uncertainty, transformative communication, and developing resilience, because oftentimes being in middle management, there's just a lot of changes that happen and people have to be really, really resilient. Why did I create this? I've been doing on and off this kind of work for a really long time. And there were times where I'd done more of it. And then over the last number of years, because I've been in academia, I had not been doing as much. And I'm looking at moving out of the academic world. And I was thinking about, sort of going back into full-time into my private practice, which I kept on the side, having a small private practice. And I realized that wasn't really where my heart lay. And the idea of doing transformational work within systems like this really called to me. And also with the resignation crisis and people really looking at work in all of these new ways, it really drew me as something that could make a real impact in people's lives. And I wanted to be involved in that kind of conversation. So I thought, well, maybe this would be one way of doing that. What's my outcome that your program helps people get? I think I've addressed some of that when I was listing off some of the things that I talk about resiliency and insight and understanding their power dynamics is super important in how people use power. What's one thing I've learned in the process of creating or marketing my program, a lot about my own sense of barriers that I was putting up to my own moving forward. I really came in contact with how my own internalized homophobia and transphobia was getting in the way. I was having people come to me and wanting to work with me as an out queer and trans non-binary person. And yet I was having delays in like responding to emails and getting contracts out and things because I had my own issues with my own sense of being not enough. And they were not having that issue with me. Certainly I do run into enormous amounts of homophobia and transphobia out there in the real work world. That's real. I'm not making that up. But I was seeing how much I'd internalized that I needed to work with. So that was a piece of it. And to just do more of that work that I didn't need to worry about the organizations that don't want to work with me because of who I am. I don't want to work with them either. What I needed to focus on was there's lots of places that do want to work with me as I am. And I began to think about, I'm not doing specifically queer or trans work in these organizations. Would they still want me? And the answer is definitively yes, they do. And that my queering of the workplace is an added benefit. I also realized that I knew a lot more than I thought I did, and I needed to sort of bolster that confidence around that. And that I just really got clear on how the warm handshake, those warm face-to-face connections, although during the pandemic, not so much, but that warm connection to people is what really made the difference for me. I didn't do and haven't done a lot of sort of colder marketing, Instagram, or just, blind emailing. I've really been doing phone calls, connecting with people for coffee, and getting in that way. And that's what's really made the difference. It's all about their relationships. And how is that learning playing out in your business? So it's really, all of this has led me to seek more support, stay connected to people who are doing like-minded work, get a lot of mentoring from other people that are doing either similar work or in the business. And then also really taking that time to connect with people, even though it's pretty scary and my own social anxiety comes up, but really reaching out to folks and saying, hey, here's the work I'm doing and I'd love to talk to you about it. And people are interested in hearing about it and giving me great guidance and also being support and connecting me to the people that I need to be connected to.
Thank you, Jay Carlin. In just a moment, we're going to get to hear from two more entrepreneurs, Jessie Kaufman and Valerie DeLugo. First, I want to invite you to get on the wait list for Create Your Program. This is an 8-week process to expand beyond private practice and create your signature program. And it is a small group program with a lot of personal attention from me, lessons on everything from niching to launching, live guest experts on legal issues and on things like tech and systems, a BIPOC business mentor running private events just for BIPOC participants, access to all of the lessons and recordings after the program is over, so much more stuff. If you're a therapist or a healer and you want to expand beyond private practice, this is for you. So go over to rebeltherapist.me/create and get on the wait list. And best of all, you get to work with people like these four. All right, let's get to Jessie Kaufman.
Hi there, I'm Jessie Kaufman. I created a program called See a Therapist. It's a one-to-one video marketing offering for therapists in private practice. I created it because as a therapist in private practice myself, when I was working on creating my practice and marketing it, I had some real trouble. I engaged in some solid marketing courses about writing copy, and I'd write some pretty good stuff, but I was still having difficulty getting to like the publishing part, getting to truly expressing who I am and why I'm doing the work that I'm doing. And, as I was in my own therapy and reflecting on it and talking with colleagues, I realized that I had a lot of my own visibility blocks from past experiences. And there's just an aspect of marketing that is about creating something with heart and then sending it out into the void and then silence. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do over and over again, particularly when you've had experiences or been treated in a way that makes that feel less safe or less than safe. And so I created a program that it's video, so people have a chance to get to see your face or your facial expressions, the words you choose, your body language, get to hear the words you choose, right, to talk about your practice and really get to see your heart shine through and why you're doing the work. And the way that we get that is it's through conversation. It's a one-on-one conversation with me and the participant. And so I show up kind of as the hype guy. I get curious about your practice, get curious about why you're doing this work that's not easy, and bring that enthusiasm and curiosity, apply the right, just the right amount of pressure so that participants really shine, really speak sincerely and clearly about this important work they're doing. And so it's been a meaningful project to create. I will say that it's fun to see the joy and pride that participants have with the final video project, to know that they have created a video that's an introduction to their practice that feels sincere and authentic. Yeah, it's really special. Something I've learned while working on this is just how important community is. I think sometimes in business we can feel isolated, and lots of people talk about that. And this was a project I really, really care about and had a pretty clear vision for. And yet I was still having trouble kind of creating it. And so in participating in Annie's programs, I was able to get, that like-minded community support. And even though people were creating totally different things than what I was, being around other voices, other perspectives, co-laborers, who are also working out, committing to and creating a vision that they had for their life and their business, their project. It's really magical. It's not lost on me that there's a way in which there's an irony, right? That I created a course about helping other people get their stuff out there, and it's about being in connection, right? Being in human conversation connection, so that they can, more clearly share about the work that they're doing. And here I am learning that it makes a difference, right, to be in community. But I also think that, for me, when I take to heart, when I think I've learned about creating this program is, yes, it's scary. And yes, sometimes you don't get the response that you want. But there are people out there who are of like mind and who believe in you and want to see you be successful, and are doing similar work on different projects, and are happy to support you in that. And so it has really made for me, visibility just that little bit easier. So for that, I am very grateful. I appreciate you, Annie. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Valerie DeLugo, and my program is called Reset Yourself for Love. It's a 6-week group coaching experience to help women reconnect to their desires as they navigate the journey to love. I created this program because looking for love is hard. I honor the intuition of my clients that is telling them they need to take a break from dating and focus on themselves. My framework guides women in a journey of self-discovery and celebration while still honoring their deep desire for love. At the same time, we destigmatize the single seasons of life as I help my clients begin developing a rich, multifaceted life that they can enjoy now, no matter when love meets them along the journey. Women leave my program energized by the peace they find in centering themselves, They are able to enter back into dating with a clearer picture of romance and a stronger confidence in who they are and what they deserve. They also feel a deeper sense of fulfillment in the life they are currently leading because they know their worth is not built upon who chooses them. In creating this program, I deepened my own self-knowledge and was able to strengthen my confidence in the expertise I bring. I have seen these principles work, and I get deep joy out of seeing women step into their freedom and power. With this greater understanding of myself, I'm able to take greater risks and show up with all my gifts and skills that I have to offer.
All right. They're incredible. So you can and absolutely should find out more about Heidi Savelle at shelovesradically.com. You should find out more about Jay Carlin at jennifercarlin.mft.com/leading-with-insight. You should learn more about Jessie Kaufman at seeatherapist.me. And you should learn more about Valerie DeLugo at sothisIslove.club. If you missed any of those URLs, go to the show notes at rebeltherapist.me. I want to thank Cosmo Palms, our editor. And if you found this episode supportive, please share it with your favorite therapist or healer. And I just want to thank you so much for listening. And I will be back next time with some more incredible entrepreneurs.